Hi everyone, David A. Cox here with Tech Talk America, and today I'm going to be teaching you everything you need to know about Microsoft OneNote. Coming up next on Tech Talk America. Alright folks, so before we begin, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the piece of software that we're covering today. One of the things I love about Microsoft OneNote is there's really an application for everyone. Whether you're the kind of person who's maybe a stay-at-home parent, or if you're a busy business executive, there really is a use for everyone. And if you're not familiar with the software, if I had to explain it in basically a sentence, what I would probably describe it as is a non-linear form of Microsoft Word. So with Word, you know what you're getting. It's a document and you go line, 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 line. And typically with most Word documents, it's just text. You don't typically have other things in there, although you can. With Microsoft OneNote, it's more non-linear in the sense that you can draw anywhere. You can click here and put text. You can put text there. You can organize your whatever it is you have into different notebooks. So whether you're using it to catalog recipes or you're using it to organize notes about clients that you work with in whatever business you do, again, application is for everyone. Now, for today's class, I'm going to be teaching you this using my Mac, but I want to say that to those of you out there who are on PCs, everything here should be pretty darn similar. There may be some subtle changes here and there, but basically the same information across the board. Another thing that I think it's good for you to know is that it does synchronize your data in the process of using this software. So let's say, for example, you have some important information in your computer and you have a house fire, okay? If you go to OneNote.com, you can sign in with your Microsoft account and get access to everything. OneNote also has some really great features that work with other tools, like, for example, your web browser. Now, there's going to be a bunch of instances in this video where I'm going to refer to things down below. That's just in the description of the video. It's where I put links always to any products I may mention, or just like little special pieces of information that I think you might need to remember down the road. That being said, let's start the class.
All right, folks, so I think the first place I want to start here today is I want to talk a little bit about the hierarchy of your different levels of organization here. At the very top level, we have what are your notebooks. So in this case here, you can see my top notebook is going to be recipes. If you are, example, a student and you're using this for educational purposes, your notebook might be a class that you're taking. And then one level below that would be what are called your sections and section groups. So you have kind of an optional level here that you can utilize if you want. So for example, here in Mom's Recipes, there's no actual data here. Obviously, this is a dummy account. But if I go here to Internet Recipes, see how there's this little arrow here? Well, underneath there, I have all these other different levels of hierarchy. So for example, I can go into, breakfast, and I can then have my final level, which are pages. Although there is actually one more. In addition to pages, you can also have what is a sub-page. And basically, the way that you create any of these is what I think I'd like to go over next. So let's start over here on the top level. So here on the left-hand side of your screen are the notebooks. If you want to create a new notebook, it's just as easy as going down here to the bottom left and clicking on the little plus symbol. Now from here, you can choose from which color you want your notebook to be represented by. So let's use the example I just gave a moment ago. Let's say this is for a student. Okay, so let's give them a lemon colored notebook, and here we can name it, and I'm just going to call it, let's say, science. That thing that apparently doesn't exist anymore, according to some people. This is where your data is going to be stored. Okay, I want to talk about this for a quick second. So OneDrive is Microsoft's service, and everyone gets a free, I believe it's 5 gigabytes of data. And that is actually quite a very large amount of data. Now, should you need more than that, I'll give you links in the description of the video to where you can go to get a lot more. They actually have up to a terabyte per person for $70 a year, which is actually pretty reasonable for those of you out there who are really, really going to use this a lot, or up to 5 terabytes for families. So that's the other option. But I think for the vast majority of you, I think 5 gigabytes is going to be plenty of storage for you. So we're going to hit create here, and voila. You can see here we have now our new notebook. So now if we want to create a section, you can see it does create one by default. And at this point what we can do is if you want to rename any of these things, so for some of you it's going to be a right click. For some of you Mac users it's going to be a secondary click. If you're on something like a Mac laptop, you're going to click with 2 fingers present on your trackpad. And of course you get all of your different options here. And of course the first one is rename. So in this case, for this student, this might be just simply a date that they were in school, whatever it was. Okay. Oh, of course, I forgot you can't put dates. Okay, so we'll call it January 1, 2017. Okay, and then you can put in all of the information for the page here. Okay, and if you ever need to create something like a subpage, again, I just showed you, you just simply secondary click. Actually, we have to create a second page in order to create a subpage. All you have to do is basically secondary click, and you'll see here that we can now make it a sub page, and we have some sort of a funky command to do that, but I don't think you need that. Now, when it comes to actually creating your content, this is where it gets really cool, folks, is that you're not bound by anything. You can literally click anywhere and type. The first thing you're going to probably want to do, though, is create a title for whatever document it is that you're creating. So I'm just going to click in here, and I'm just going to say, data goes here. I'm going to be really creative today. All right, and then you can see here it automatically dates it, which is a great feature, because what's phenomenal about that is if you ever need to look up, hey, what were those notes that I took on that date? You just search for that date and boom, you've got it right there. Now, when it comes to entering any kind of text into your document, you can literally click anywhere, and you can just type here, or you can type there. If I can just spell there. It's so much more impressive when I nail that. Okay, wonderful. But the other thing that I want to mention here is that you're also not bound simply by text. And I want to, at this point, throw a quick tip, how is that, at you. Something that absolutely makes the OneNote experience so much better, and that is the OneNote Clipper. Now, the easy way to get it, for those of you who are Mac users, PC users, I'm sure it's very similar. I just don't know what it is, so maybe someone can leave it in the comments section. Go up here to where it says OneNote, and you can see here it says Install OneNote Clipper. Note, this is going to use your default web browser, so if you have other web browsers, you're going to need to install it separately on them. In the case of Safari, just click right here to get OneNote Web Clipper. And in my case, you can see I already have it installed. But if I didn't, it would say, install here. Just follow the directions. It's very simple. So I want to take a moment to show you how to use this Web Clipper, because it is something that really makes it stand out as an awesome product. A lot of times when you're taking notes for different types of things, a lot of them are coming from different areas, and you're not necessarily going to create them all by hand. That's what Word is for. But OneNote is more an ability to incorporate other things like web pages. So let's go back for a moment to the example of the recipes here. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to put together some recipes. What I could do is I could go on my computer, we're going to just wing this and see how it goes, to some sort of a recipe website. The one that I always think of is allrecipes.com. I don't actually go there, but for whatever reason they always pop in my head first. And we wait for their website to load. And let's just grab, let's see here, let's grab something good, something that's going to make you all just go, blueberry sour cream coffee cake, sounds good to me. Now, of course, when you're on the site, there's all these stupid ads, right? And we don't want to print all that crap. So what we're going to do is, instead of that, check this out. If I go up here into my web bar, and apologies, but if you're on Chrome, it's going to look a little bit different. I think on Chrome, it's over here on the right-hand side. But there's now this little icon here for OneNote Web Clipper. So I'm going to click on that, and it gives me a few different ways that I can save this data. So let's start up here at the top, which is full page, okay? And that's just everything, but check it out. It does at least block out all the ads. So thank you, Web Clipper. The next one is region. If you do region, what it's going to do is it's going to basically turn your, if you can see my cursor is now a crosshair, and if I were to drag over this, okay, it's going to take a photo of just that. Okay, and I actually just let it do that. And so now I can see the image that I've got here. If I want to add any other little text, I can do that. But if you look right here, it's asking me, it's telling me where is this thing going? So I can kind of direct it where to go. So here we go. Okay, so internet recipes, we'll put that in, I don't know, I'd probably put that in desserts these days, and hit clip. Okay, and so now it's going to clip it and it's good to go. But I want to actually go back to where we just were because there's a much better way to do it. So my favorite is see, check this out. It actually detects that it's a recipe. Normally it doesn't say recipe here, but it'll say, I think it's article, I want to say. And it perfectly chops out all the stuff you don't want. It's perfect. So I'm gonna clip that as well. And so let's clip it, and it's going to save it just like that. The other option there that you saw a moment ago is the bookmark option. And so that's just a really simple. It does give you a little thumbnail icon for those of you who are just going to end up pulling up the website on your iPad or whatever. That might be an option, but personally I like the fact that it really does figure it out, at least for this kind of thing. But just know that you have different ways that you can clip your information. Now, at this point, I would like to demonstrate something, an issue that I'm sure you will probably encounter at some point in time. So let's call this another quick tip. If you ever go into OneNote and you've clipped something and you're like, where are you, buddy? Okay. The thing you always want to make sure if you don't see something there is I want to just show you really quickly how to refresh it because it doesn't sync automatically all the time. It does it periodically. But if you ever need to force it, you can just go up here to File. And if you look right here, it has either sync this notebook or sync all notebooks. So let's just do that now. Make sure we get all up to date. If you look up at the top, it says it's syncing. And now if I go into desserts, check it out. They are all here, those different ways that I save them. So you can see it's a really great way to kind of capture that information and don't have to worry about all the other stuff on the website. It really makes it a lot more personal, I find. Another thing I want to just show you real quickly here is that if you ever want to reorder any of these, you can literally just drag and drop them. Okay, so you don't have, if you don't like the way that it's doing it, no problem.
Folks, we got plenty more for you. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
The next thing I want to go over relatively briefly is what you see up here at the top of my screen. This is called the ribbon. And so we have 4 different tabs on the ribbon. We have Home, Insert, Draw, and View. Here under Home, one of the things I want to mention right here is the paste options. So of course you can copy and paste into this application, but there's another feature that I think you should absolutely be aware of if you're copying text from something like either an email or a web page, something like that, is that if you look here next to paste, there's this little arrow here. And this is where you can choose not only to paste something, but you can choose to either keep the formatting the same as your document that you're working on, or you can keep it the same as where you copied it from. So just because if you do a lot of copying and pasting, you have different fonts that are all over the place, it can be a real mess. This is just, I think, a very good little trick to keep that a little cleaner. Other options we have here, of course, are all of the normal things that you would find in any kind of a Microsoft piece of software, your font options, font size. Right here we have options to do bullet lists, but we also have more than just bullets. We can do things like checkboxes or diamonds, whatever you prefer there. Numbered lists, okay, see your different options right there. Here are all of our classic options: bold, italic, underline, strike through, etc., font colors. But also you'll see here that we have these items up here, and these are tags. And there's quite a few of them. If you click on the little bottom arrow here, you can see a list of all of them. The one little thing that I find odd, it's possible there's a way to do it. I still have I've never found a way to do it. But you can't actually search by tags, which is kind of a weird thing, but it does make it pop out at least. So I guess that's a good thing. So if you want to, in your document put something like note that it's a phone number, okay, you can put that right there. And you can put that anywhere in your document as well. Next here we have insert. Okay, so this is where we get what's cool. You can insert way more than just text here. So if you want a table, check this out. I like the way they do this better than how Pages does it. So you can actually just kind of draw what kind of table you want to work with. So if I want a 4x2, I draw it, it makes it. And of course you can resize it and all that jazz. Now that we have a table, you can see it creates a new tab. So all of our options here, as far as selecting columns, blah blah blah, you can find all of those options right there. Let's go back to insert. Next thing we have here are pictures. You can basically you can get them here through any method you want. You can literally have a picture on your desktop and drag it and drop it into this application and it'll work. But you can also go through here just through a typical Finder window and pull it up that way as well. PDF printout. So basically you can attach different types of files. This is just going to basically say it's looking specifically for a PDF. Same deal. You can drag and drop a PDF from your documents folder or wherever right into a document here, and it will attach it, as well as pretty much anything else you want, as long as you're within that file size limitation we talked about earlier. Hyperlinks, it'll format it correctly. Equation, for those of you who are smart. Date and time options are right here. So if you decide to do multiple notes on multiple entries rather on a single page, you can say, okay, this part of my data is from this time, and then I can click down here and click date and time, and this is another time. So you can see we've got okay, this part's here, this part's here. We also have different arrows and shapes. You can see right there. Another very cool feature that we have here is the ability to create audio recordings and embed them within documents. So let me give you my example. Students, if you need to remember what chapters you need to read for your homework, okay, you can launch the OneNote app for your iPhone or Android phone, and within your homework document, you can just click here on audio recording and say, David, remember that tonight you have to read chapters 15 through 18, and then hit stop. And you'll see here that now within my document, I have an audio file. And so now I can click on it. I have a play button. I'm sure this is going to sound very strange in post-production later on. David, remember that tonight you have to read chapters 15. Yeah, thank you, self. So there you go. You can embed audio files into your document. Next, we're going to be talking about the Draw tab right here. And here you can find all of the options that you want to mark up anything. Now, it's not going to be very impressive for what I'm going to do for you here today, but where this is really cool is when you interact with photos or PDFs or really anything else that you have. So I'm going to just use the marker tool here and just write hi. So I can just demonstrate it. And the other thing I want to show you is if you ever need to move around something that you've drawn, you can do it by using the lasso tool right up here at the top left. So if I tap into this, you can see I can just draw a circle around that, and now I can grab it with my cursor and I can drag it to a different part of the page. It's also very important that you know that if you are in the draw mode, you do have to go back into text mode. So just know that if you're last in marker, you need to switch back over here to text. Next, let's go here to view. And you can see here we can change just the way that our page looks. So for example, if you want to change the color of the page, you can do so here. The page style, for those of you who like having lines on the page, you can do that just with one click right there. I do not believe there is a way to make that the default option, unfortunately. So you do have to change it for each new page. Of course, here we have our zoom options. And the next thing I want to mention is this right here, password protection. So this is going to sound a little weird, but you cannot password protect a notebook. You can only password protect a section. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I also just have to very quickly throw out there, for those of you out there who are looking at this application because you want to store your passwords, I would very strongly discourage you. Just keep watching the video. At the very, very end, there's going to be another video that if you want you can watch, and it's the class that I taught a while ago on 1Password, which is the application application that I have very, very strongly recommended. It does take some time to set up, but it is worth it as far as its security options. So I just have to throw that out there. Back to the class. So if you want to password protect a section, you just basically go to whichever section it is that you want. Like, for example, if I want to password protect my dinner recipes, I can go up here to password protection, and I can click right here to protect the current section. So now I can put in whatever password I want. There are no requirements, but you do need to know, as it says here, you cannot recover your password. So make sure you can remember it. I'm going to do what you should never do, password, set password, and it will protect it. So anything that is listed within that section, any pages of content, will be private. Just one thing that you should know is that you do need to remember to lock it again once you're done with it, and that's through the same button right here.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We still have a little bit more left, so keep watching. We'll be right back after this brief commercial break.
The next feature is yet another really impressive feature of OneNote, which is the ability to collaborate with others. This is amazing for students of any different type, for business professionals who are working with other business professionals. Okay, it's a really phenomenal thing. You could even use this if you wanted to for a synced shopping list for your family if you wanted to. Okay, so in order to do this, what you're going to do is you're going to go up here to File, and look here, we have Share. And at this point, you can see here we have a few different ways that we can share notebooks with people. So, for example, I can invite other people to also work on this notebook. And if I do that, let's just show you what's going to happen. Okay, we're just going to have to type in their email addresses, put in a little message, and as you can see here, there's an option to allow them to edit it, and then click the Share button. The other options that we have, you can also allow people to, you can copy a view-only link to the notebook, and also you can copy a view and edit link to the notebook. So that would be where you're just going through your own email service, or maybe sending it out to someone through something like a text message. That's where you'd use those options. Or, in the case of the Mac, send message, or send PDF. A PDF, obviously, it's going to be kind of a locked thing, but this feature right here, the ability to have others work with you right on it, is very, very impressive. And I think for a lot of you, could be a major feature that you end up using. By the way, you can also do that if you look up here at the top right of my screen. You can see here we have the ability to share the notebook. We have those same options right here as well. Also, you'll see here at the top right, we have a little bell. This is just for any notifications. This is something that you will definitely run into if you do collaborate with others. It'll just let you know changes that have been made in date and timestamps. At this point, I'd like to throw a quick tip at you. For those of you, it is a little specific, but it's for those of you who are Mac users. But I would like to remind you that you have a feature built into your Mac that really makes this application awesome, which is Dictation. This is a feature that's been in the Mac operating system for several years now. If you are not sure if you have it turned on, just go into System Preferences, and from there you can go into Keyboard. This is for those of you who are up to date. And in Keyboard, it's here under Dictation. And so you just want to make sure it's turned. Oops, how is it? Oh, sorry, I have it turned on my other account. On this account, I had it turned off. So make sure you have that turned on, and then you can figure out what your shortcut key is. In my case, I have to hit the function key twice. And so that way, when I'm here in my document, if I double tap the function key, I can just talk, and you'll see that it translates my words into text, period, next paragraph. I can also, of course, dictate punctuation when it gets it right. Okay. Tuition when it gets it right. Yeah, well, you know, not bad. Anyway, it's better than what we had when I was a kid. I'll put it that way. Another tip I thought I would just throw out there, a lot of people know this, but hey, not everyone does. If you're ever in this application and you make a mistake, like you accidentally delete something, just always remember that on a Mac it's Command Z, on a PC it's Control Z, but that's the shortcut to undo.
Well, everyone, that about does it for me for today. I hope you've enjoyed this class. If you don't mind, we really do appreciate it if you hit that little like button down below, leave us a comment, and especially we want to hear from you. Which do you like better, OneNote or Evernote or something else? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. This is David A. Cox with Tech Talk America. Class dismissed.